Right then, lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy, and I'm back with another big one. Glenn, obviously, like I said, we are always gonna be here. Me, Glenn, and Glenn and me. We are always here to discuss Arsenal transfers, Arsenal news, Arsenal, or everything Arsenal, basically on a daily basis. Thank you for joining me, Glenn. Hope you're good, bro.
Very, very good. It's looking like you're starting to make a few moves in the transfer market. Health-wise, I'm starting to become good. So ready to go, and hope you're well as well.
Yeah, I'm fine, especially health-wise, man. And the transfers, really. So, everybody joining us, thank you so much. That really means a lot. Please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well, so that we don't miss anything. Today, we expect Albert Lokonga to be announced in the next few hours. I'll come live, with that. And also, I'll join Glenn on his channel, and we'll discuss much about Albert Lokonga. But the announcement should come out today, shortly, in the coming hours or in the coming minutes. So we might discuss that on live today as well, if we do not have any problems with that. So we're really gonna speak transfers, but basically something like what you would call an appraisal of our transfer window, halfway appraisal. We are almost 2 months into the transfer window. 3 players confirmed will be joining Arsenal. One of them announced as well, but a couple of other positions to deal with and a couple of other transfers to deal with. So we're gonna speak about the seven new signings Mikel Arteta is demanding in this summer. Is he the right man to take the project in front? And basically, how much time do we give him with the 7 new signings? Where do we go if he fails to clip and put these players together? Do you sack him? Do you give him 5 years? Do you give him 10 years like Arsene Wenger? Do you give him 20 years like Wenger? What actually happens with Mikel Arteta? But the good thing is, just to feed you in, Kroenke decided, of course, he promised to back Mikel Arteta after the Super League fiasco. You still remember that. So we had a lot of things going on. The Super League, Arsenal getting in and dropping out, within less than a week, and then the fans wanted Kroenke out. He never wanted to go, and he promised to build and back the manager, which is done. At the moment, we have spent almost 90 million euros on 3 signings, and more players have been promised in Manuel Locatelli, in Houssem Aouar, in James Maddison. So maybe the 90 million, exclusive, which is around, which actually stated that we're going to spend around 250 million pounds. Maybe it is happening. Maybe it is 100% true. Maybe it is 100% not true. Maybe we could spend around 150 or 200 million in this summer. But the big question now is, if we get the 7 signings, is it justifiable that Mikel Arteta gets the 7 signings? And if we get them, where do we finish next season? Do we make top 4? Do we actually remain in the top best 8? Glenn, that is where I need your opinions, and this way you join me. First and foremost, 7 new signings this summer. It looks like a complete squad overall, just like we had last season. Honestly, is it justifiable? Was our squad that bad that we needed a complete squad overall in your eyes, in your thoughts?
Oh yes, and then also last season we had a lot of players on loan, so it looks like they're really not. We had so many players who've been here for too long. We had players who are here on loan who we definitely knew were going to leave, people like Tavares. So how many of the Arsenal players from last season are really committed to the project, to the process, as we call it? How many of them are really committed? I don't think many of them are. So what worries me is the last 3 years, we've actually gotten rid of so many players, which means almost 90% of our squad was terrible. Let's remember we had someone like Lich Steiner, got rid of him. We got rid of people like Jenkinson. We got rid of people like Mustafi, Kolasinac, all those players, and we still had so many others remaining. So which means we had so many terrible players at Arsenal. So many terrible players. The likes of Koscielny all left, although we both agree that Koscielny is a good player, maybe not in the last season, but we had so many bad players. So that shows you that we needed a complete squad overall.
Yeah, and I think with Laura Koscielny, it was more of the injuries as well. I mean, he was so inconsistent, and we talked about it when we were talking about Ben White. That one of the things you must have as a centre back is the consistency, the durability, and I think he didn't have that. He was always in the sick bay. So away from that, we begin off with seven signings. Mikel Arteta demanding seven signings, and that's where we begin. Our priorities, in my case, we've spoken about this. Our priorities were around 4 or 5 players. But if you think about it, if you deeply go into it, our squad, you could actually do 10. You could actually do 20 signings in this season, and things could actually be well. So Glenn, if I think it's off. I think it's off for a minute. So he will be back. When he comes back, then we'll actually continue the discussion. It's fine. So Glenn, as Glenn comes back, Mikel is actually asking for 7 new signings. 7 new signings. We have 3 of them very close. We have 2 of them very close, and we have one of them announced as Leno Tavares, a backup left back. And I think it's justifiable. It's only justifiable that Arsenal wanted to bring in around 7 new signings, or Mikel wanted 7 new signings, because the first thing is we wanted a backup left back, who I think was very, very crucial to our season. A position that was very, very crucial to our season. Last season, we actually tried as much as possible to bring in a backup left back, but things didn't work out. So we used Cedric, who's supposed to be a backup left back, a backup right back, and we use Cedric as a backup left back, playing with a right foot on the left hand side. And many people are gonna give him different appraisals. Many people say he tried. Many people say well tried. Many people say Cedric on the left hand side, it was superb. I don't think it was superb. I think it was really it was really a mistake to play him there. I think I really can't, I can't justify the fact that he was playing on that side, and I really can't give him a negative appraisal as well, because that is not where he plays, and that is not where Cedric plays. So we wanted to bring in a backup left back, as something I think that we have done very, very well, by bringing in Nuno Tavares. He has already scored his goal on his debut, and that is one of the things that Arsenal fans are really in love with. So Glenn is back. Right. Glenn is back. Is it your internet?
Yeah, apologies for that. There are some things we can't control. I think I had to reset the internet. I turned it off and turned it back on.
Yeah, exactly. So I was speaking about the 7 new signs Mikel is asking for, and of course, we all agree that they're justifiable. This squad was rotten to the core. Apart from the manager, the squad was also rotten to the core, and we needed that, that refreshment, that kind of fresh new look. And next season, Arsenal could look differently, right? Very, very differently. So I'm just gonna ask you, these 7 signings, these 7 areas, and maybe you would suggest names, and I'll tell you people we are linked with, and you suggest names, then we can actually go into the assessment. At right back, it looks like at the moment, Sergio Dest and Max Aarons. Those are the 2 players that have been linked, so strongly in the last 48 hours. Would you do Max Aarons or Sergio Dest? Barcelona.
I'd do Aarons because he has the Premier League experience. And Dest, I started seeing Dest last season at Barcelona. I'm sure he's a very good player, but I'd take the one who's English Premier League experience first, because I don't think we can sign way too many players who are not Premier League experience. It also depends which players we're getting forward and midfield wise. But I think we need Aarons, and I think Aarons would be cheaper if I'm not wrong. So I'd definitely get Aarons. A lot of good points are pointing to him instead of Dest. So Premier League experience first.
Yeah, Aarons is actually 25 million. It would cost us 25 million. Dest around, I think 30 and above million, because if Barcelona are going to let him go, it is only because of their wage bill. They want to cut their wage bill. That is the only reason. Otherwise, they wouldn't want to let him go. Of course, we have gone with Nuno at left back as a backup left back, and Mikel Arteta also wanted that. Do you think? Of course, we're linked with the likes of Josh Doig, the likes of Ryan Bertrand, and Patrick Van Aanholt, and then we eventually went with Nuno Tavares. You think that was a wise signing?
Yeah, I think it was. Since we played Benfica a few months ago, I was talking. I met a couple of Benfica fans. So recently, when they had signed Tavares, they were like, they're actually very glad that they sold him. Apparently, he's not that good of a player there. But the thing is, we are not signing him to become our main left back. We were signing him to become a backup. So according to Benfica fans, where Tavares was, they are very glad that he's been sold, just like the way we'd be glad Kolasinac and William went. So that's how they feel. But for me, from that debut, because I think Tierney is shaking. I think Tierney could be benched if Tavares plays like this. Tierney will be benched. But that's what we needed: a good backup left back. Over the years, it's been a problem for like 15 years. Armand Traore, we had someone like a Santos, Gibbs. All these players are not good enough at left back. Even Clichy, he was here and there. I think Ashley Cole was the last real left back we had. So you've had a lot of trouble then. Tierney right now needing a good left back. We've talked about it a lot of times. Tierney does not play every single game. He gets injured here and there because of his pace and the way he plays the game. He plays with it way too much fire, so he gets injured here and there. So Tavares is a very good player. According to what we've seen, he can shoot with his right foot. That is already something we never had. So as a backup, 5 to 8 games, I'm definitely going to take him.
Yeah, did Kian Tierney score with his right foot against Benfica in the Europa League last season?
He did score with his left foot. That was his left foot, but he did score with his right foot against West Brom.
Yeah, against West Brom. It was an absolute beauty, by the way.
Very good goal. And taking on players, what you've always needed. He took on like 3 or 4 players and he shot the ball. That is what we've always needed. So for me, Tavares is good. He's a good backup player, and the price as well is very good.
Exactly. Did you have any options in your head, in your mind, apart from, I did not know Tavares, and I thought we were going to go for a Ryan Bertrand or Patrick Van Arnold, one of the two, and I would have preferred Ryan Bertrand. Did you have any options in your head for right back, for left back option?
Those are the ones I was thinking, mainly Van Arnold rather than Ryan Bertrand, because it'd be cheaper and more experienced. You just get someone who's more experienced than Tierney on the bench and then need them for a few games. I was actually really thinking Cedric could be the cover next season. I never really picked out any other names because I think for left back, how many backup left backs are out there? How many would you actually really need to spend a lot of money on? So we really didn't want to spend a lot of money on. So it was really Tavares after we heard of him, just like right back as well. Apart from Aarons and Lamptey, I don't really know a lot of right backs that can be cheap according to our price. And as we said, I'm not sure Dest will do the job for us as we want. Remember, something I forgot to point out, sorry to take you back to right back, Semedo joined Wolves from Barcelona. It has not worked out for him in England. So I'm really afraid of getting people from Spain and those kind of countries without being sure about them. You never know when it's going to work. So for me, left back, I'd not really had anyone apart from Van Arnold. So I prefer the younger one than an older one, someone who you can sell later on if they don't work out for you.
Right then, of course, it was a priority because Mikel said that talked about it in the season, and he said Runarsson looks like it was a transfer mistake. Of course, he did directly throw him under the bus, but said there were so many mistakes last summer that some of them have to be corrected in the next summer, and the next summer would be unprecedented. And I think it's really becoming unprecedented. We shall talk about it if it's going to be really unprecedented or big. But Runarsson was never the right option. So Matt Ryan was an option. Onana was an option. Aaron Ramsdale is apparently an option, and Sam Johnston. So goalkeeper was backup for Leno. I think we need someone who can step up for Leno. Look, Leno is durable. He can give you 38 games in a season, without any problem. But in terms of a goalkeeper, who do you go for? I mean, Onana is my choice would have been Onana, but Onana is really mad about getting first team football, and I don't think Arsenal are really ready for that. So he looks like he looks like he's out of the picture. Do you go for Ramsdale? Do you go for Sam Johnston? Do you go for of course Matt Ryan has now got to Real Sociedad. So there are two options now: Sam Johnston and Aaron Ramsdale. And then what is your overall thought on the position as well? Do you think it is a big priority?
Oh, it is. And you've said Ranasson was a mistake. It was a huge mistake. That was one of the worst. I think that is a
Right.
for me,
Yeah.
Ranasson, as we said before, he was brought to Arsenal because he was friends with the goalkeeping coach. That is a big mistake. Thankfully, that goalkeeping coach I never want to see him anywhere near the team. So Ranasson, backup goalkeeper, we've seen, you never know when your goalkeeper is going to get injured. You never know when he's going to pick up a red card, and then for 3 or 4 games, you never know when you're going to need him. Let's be honest. No one knew Martinez was that good. When Leno got injured the previous season, we were very scared. No one was actually okay with Martinez coming in, and then he proved himself. But Ranasson, I'm not even sure why they're trying to loan him out. I would sell him immediately, even for 500,000. Loaning him out when? Because when is he going to become a better goalkeeper? Because that Man City game, I'll never forget it. He was absolutely terrible. So my option would be Johnston, because I talked about Johnston before we even linked to him. AJ90, you can see him in the chat. You can ask him. I talked about him, and people are like, Johnston, West Brom goalkeeper, they got relegated. Why should we get a West Brom goalkeeper? But I really like him. After you finish this show, just go on YouTube and look for Man City against West Brom last season. They drew the game 0-0 at the Etihad. City and West Brom. The last game where before their manager was sacked, before Allardyce came in. You see how many saves Johnston made in that game and how many crucial saves he made. Also for England, Johnston, the last friendly they played before the Euros, you see the kind of save he made in the last game. Very, very good save. And then he's Premier League experienced as well. He's been there. He'd be cheap because he's coming from West Brom. If Leno gets injured, you wouldn't be that scared because someone capable is coming in. For Onana now, I'm not really keen on Onana because if you're signing Onana, you're not signing him for next season. You're signing him for the next season because he'll be out for, I think, 2 or 3 months. And then in January, he would go out for the African Cup. I don't want a goalkeeper who will be here for 2 months as well. So if you're going to splash money for him, it's for the next season. So if you sign him right now, no one is expecting Onana to be the player this season. It's for the next season. So we'll still need another backup goalkeeper. And how many goalkeepers are you trying to sign? So as you said, I saw your show earlier on, you said you might not even need a backup goalkeeper. Leno could end up playing all 38 games, which would be ideal for us. We'd want him to play all 38 games. So for me, it's Johnston. Ramsdale's too expensive. I'm not sure on him, relegated twice. I'm not sure on him that much. Onana, it's not a this season buy. It would be a next season buy. So Johnston would be my option, definitely 100%. I would have been keen on Ryan as well. I don't think Ryan is a bad goalkeeper, but he's gone, obviously. So for me, it's Johnston. 100%.
Exactly. Right. I mean, a new goalkeeper. That one's going to be very interesting for me to watch. The prospect of a new goalkeeper. I would tie down Onana on a new contract, on a long-term contract, and then sign him for free, probably in the next summer, if that can work. Do you think there is uncertainty with Leno, or it is just the work of the agent trying to push for a new contract?
I think that they're trying to push for a new contract. Obviously, it's usually like a domino effect. When one player like Aubameyang gets a big contract, someone else tries to bully the team in terms of getting a higher contract, like the way Ramsey did a couple of years ago. When Ozil got the new contract, it was all over the place with Sanchez, with Ramsey, all trying to get money like Ozil. So when one person gets that money, everyone else wants. So since Aubameyang got that money, you'd expect Leno to ask for more. Thankfully, Tierney, I don't think Tierney is all about the money, so I've never heard anything about him. Many players would want more money, so for me, I think it's just a technique for them to get a new contract. I know a lot of people don't think Leno is the guy, but I think Leno is a good shot stopper. I've never thought he's our biggest problem. Yes, last season it takes too much time to pass the ball from the back. He puts some of the players in really tough positions, and you're like, why the hell don't you just clear the ball? So that happens, but that is something you can improve on. His shot stopping is very good. So for me, I don't think Leno is our biggest problem. I think you still have a season from him.
Yeah, I also think he will stay because really, I've not really seen him, linked with so many clubs. Maybe where could he go? Bayern, maybe Bayern because he's Germany and he could actually replace Noah on the German national team. Do you think?
Yeah, those are the only teams because I don't think it's anywhere in England. I wouldn't think anywhere in France. So maybe just Germany, maybe a Bayern or a Dortmund or anything like that. So the teams that are in the Champions League. So because I don't see why it'd go to like a Hertha Berlin, a mid-table team there or something, or a Schalke that have been relegated. So it has to be Bayern or Dortmund. Let's be honest, Bayern is a very good attraction. If you're German, you know Bayern, you're going to play 100%. If Neuer retires, you're going to win cups. I think it's a guarantee. If you join Bayern, you know you're going to win trophies. It's almost a guarantee. So I don't think anyone would say no to Bayern. So if Leno decided to go to Bayern right now, I would not even blame him, because I think it's a bigger attraction than Arsenal. Plus, he's also German. So hopefully he doesn't leave, though, because that will mean we need 2 or 3 goalkeepers.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a lot of work to do. So again, Ben White replacing William Saliba and David Luiz. Do you think we would sign a centre back first and foremost, and then did you think it would be someone like Ben White? I had not even focused on him. If you were going for a centre back, I was focused on very, very different names, but eventually it is Ben White, 50 million. Overall thoughts on that? Has Mikel Arteta made the right decision, or do you think if he's made a decision that's going to be on one of the problems if he leaves this club? Do you see Ben White as an overall defender with or without Mikel Arteta?
Yeah, I think it would work out for any manager if he came on, any manager comes on. So I didn't think we were going to sign a centre back. I didn't think it was a priority that much for the team, because Gabriel, Pablo Mari, Saliba, Mavropanos, Holding, Chambers. Literally, the last season there's a time we had like 10 centre backs. 10.
Yeah.
And none of them is good enough. Maybe one of them, maybe Gabriel or something. So I never really thought they would go for a centre back. I really thought Saliba would come back this season, but obviously he's not going to come back. So for me, Ben White, I think is a plus Luiz. Let's not forget you had someone like a Luiz as well. So for me, White is a very good defender. I think he's an improvement on what we have in Chambers and Holding. I think he's an improvement. We'll never stop saying it. He can play 36 games in a season. Definitely get him in. He has a better passing accuracy than most of our defenders. Maybe heading ability not that much. He can defend better maybe than most of our players. Quicker. He can play different positions more than what Holding can do for us. So I think he's an improvement for what we have. And if any manager comes in, I think he can use him. English experience, Premier League experience. Maybe one season is not enough, but he's already played in the Premier League, so I think any manager can use him. Now, any manager has different thoughts, because a manager can join Arsenal right now and someone would not like Aubameyang. Someone would be like, you know what, I need a new striker, I don't like Aubameyang. Someone else would join the team and play Elneny and Thomas Partey every single day, and you're like, wow, someone actually likes Elneny. A new manager would come right now and play Pepe every single day and bench Smith Rowe. So
yeah,
a lot of different decisions with different players. But I think for Ben White, I think any manager comes in for that price as well, for that money is coming in for, I think any manager would play him.
Yeah, anyone who is interested in knowing where we are with Ben White, Sky Sports have just put out an update saying his medical is next week confirmed, and that is next week. He'll be finalizing his move as an Arsenal player. So keep an eye on Cossy Media, keep an eye on Glenn Catley. Link is in the title. Make sure you click on his name and on his channel. Do subscribe, because I'm always there and he's always here as well. So Sky, according to Chef, are saying medical is next week. That has come out just 10 minutes ago. So Glenn, it looks like a lot of work is going to be done defensive wise, and that's the first thing that we're going to speak about. Ben White, a new right back, a backup left back, and a goalkeeper. Last season, did we concede a goal from set pieces? No, we did concede a goal from set pieces, we are one of very, very rarely, and very rarely, and we are one of those clubs that actually conceded very few goals per 90. I think the only time we conceded more than 3 goals was against Liverpool, right?
And Aston Villa, yeah.
Yeah, in Aston Villa. So I think with a new with manager with Mikel Arteta, one of the things that have come around is we concede few goals per 90. But we have also been shocking in terms of going into the final third, and we shall speak about that. So a lot of work is going to be done defensively, or is being done defensive-wise. Already 2 players are coming in. Do you think maybe Mikel Arteta's strategy is to strengthen his side, defensive-wise? Because with Unai Emery, that was a concern. we can concede as many as we can, as long as we can score as many as possible. Do you think Arteta's main focus is making us a strong defensive side, and maybe the other areas could come later?
Yeah, I think that was his first focus from day one. I think he actually made us defensively better, but it took away from the attack very much. That is why we struggled for goals. So I think you have to try and balance it out. He made us defensively solid. I was very okay with that, with the formations he was playing, and we are not conceding goals. That is fine, but you have to get a balance, because I think he focused too much on the defense, and so many people turned on him because he never got goals. But last season, as he said, I was actually okay with the defense. There's no time that you actually got trashed apart from Liverpool and Aston Villa. Every time we lost a game, it was like 1-0 coming from an own goal. I think that was the only corner we conceded when Aubameyang scored an own goal against Burnley. Very few goals that we lost. Yeah.
And he had a terrible season, so you can't blame Mikel Arteta for that win.
Yeah, so it's very rare that it's very rare that Arsenal actually had a good defense than the attack. Over the years, we've always had a very good attack with Van Persie, Adebayo, Fabregas, Nasri, all those players, Sanchez, but our defense has always been terrible. Always the last 16 years. But right now, it looks like we're focusing more on the defense than the attack. So he needs to get a balance. So it's great. That's almost the spine of the team, like centre-back and central midfield, goalkeeper. So he needs to get those new players. We're already used to these players who've been here, the Bellerines, the Luis, all those players are used to them. So I think it was very crucial that we actually change something there, because we know Bellerin is going to make at least 3 mistakes in a season. We already know that. We actually do know Leno will make a couple of mistakes as well. So I'm hoping he improves on that. We already know if Kolasinac plays, he's going to make at least 4 to 5 mistakes in a season. So why not just get rid of all those players? Get the Ben Whites, get a new backup goalkeeper, and let's see how it works out. So for me, I didn't expect us to get a new centre-back, but I think it's crucial that we actually changed our defense and midfield a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, honestly, I was happy with that, because I whenever we went into games, you were never sure that Arsenal was going to win. You are sure we will concede, but there was this kind of this kind of fear that we might get trashed, we might get destroyed, we might get humiliated. It's eventually evolving away, and I think it's courtesy of Mikel, because he takes over from Unai Emery, and the defense is right away fixed. He starts playing five at the back. And then eventually evolves to a 4 at the back. Yeah, and I think he's really done a good job. So, Glenn, overall, defensive wise, in terms of transfers, you think we are doing well? You think you could give us an 8 out of 10 defensive wise in terms of this transfer window?
Yeah, we got a backup left back. I'm sure they all knew that, and they've sorted that immediately. Centre back, because Saliba and Luis have left, so we needed a centre back definitely. We still need to get rid of a couple. I don't see Kolasinac in that team anywhere near. I don't even know why they're here until now. I always feel like if Tavares right now is training with Kolasinac, so I think he's getting that. He's getting a bit of Kolasinac in him, and I didn't want that. I wanted these players to be gone by the time new signings come in. So backup left back, new centre back. If a new goalkeeper, and until now, I'm going to give it someone like a 6.5. When we sign a backup goalkeeper and we sign a new right back and we complete White deal, I think it's going to go up to a 9 out of 10, because I think we'd have sorted out all our problems at the back.
Okay, so guys, that is the first part of the show, speaking defense, because Mikel really has changed the way we defend football. Basically, you don't concede many set piece goals. You don't concede many dead ball situations from many dead ball situations. And basically, I think our defense, our discipline defensive wise, has elevated a little, and basically, of course, the players that are actually coming in, Nuno Tavares and Ben White, majority are defensive players, and that's why we spoke about that. So part 2, we are going to evolve. Yeah,
that is why we won the FA Cup, because we were playing good defensively. That is why we actually won the FA Cup, because
by the way, that was a lot of defensive football there.
Defending, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we're gonna evolve to the midfield where we speak about our Maddison Bissouma. There's been a big debate today in the morning on Martin Ødegaard and Martin Ødegaard and Bissouma, and we're gonna speak about that. But please do smash a like on the video. Let's get them to 100 likes. Make sure we are at 100 because that is always the target. So make sure we do that. Make sure we do smash the like button. Thanks everybody for doing that. It's important that we get that done. Right. So Glenn, midfield wise, for me in the past 2 seasons, Arsenal has lost identity, and the reason that's why I think we've lost our identity is we are used to quality in the middle of the park. We are used to be a side where we challenge. You can challenge us, at the back. You can challenge us up top, up front. But as to in terms of midfield, over the past 20 years that I've seen that have been alive, we've been so good in terms of midfield. If you look at the legends, in this Arsenal midfield and and the players we have, the difference is so big, so big. Just in the last decade or 15 years, the likes of Samuel Nasri, the likes of Cesc Fabregas, the likes of Santi Cazorla, the likes of Aaron Ramsey, the likes of Jack Wilshere, that it's no more. In the past 2 seasons, we played Matteo Guendouzi as a main man. We played Torreira as a main man. We played El Neni in almost 26 games in a Premier League season. We played so many players that have been mediocres in the midfield. And when you talk about Arsenal losing its identity, for me, that is what it means. Being that lack of quality in the midfield. The fire, it's called the powerhouse. Our powerhouse has always been, the midfield. It's like taking away, a good defense from Stoke City. They will struggle because that's what they're used to.
Yeah.
Well, and that's it. So, in this summer, we linked with so many good players. Obviously, we can't bring in more than 3. Everybody should know that. It's gonna be a central midfielder, an attacking midfielder, and a backup, which is Albert Sambi-Lokonga, confirmed. That one is an Arsenal player. So let's begin with the two, the central midfielder where Xhaka plays, and the attacking midfield. That is Houssem Aouar and James Maddison. How would you compare these two players? Because many people are still locked in the Bissouma interest. And okay, let's begin there. Bissouma, Houssem Aouar looks the priority now, and looks set to join. Probably this week we could have some big update. That was according to reports that came out yesterday. Bissouma, the interest has been there. The player wants to join Arsenal. Many people like him, including yourself, but Arsenal not really putting him as a priority. If you're losing Xhaka at the moment and you're rebuilding Arsenal midfield, do you go for Bissouma? Do you go for Houssem Aouar?
You go for Aouar. Just give me 30 seconds before I get to that. I'm so glad that you pointed out Arsenal's midfield. Because if you tell anyone to mention their top 20 Arsenal players since they started supporting Arsenal, I think the most on that list will be midfielders. You'd hear Petit, You'd have Vieira, all those players, and then maybe a few strikers like Andre and the defenders like Adams. We had so many good midfielders. There's a time Fabregas, Flamini, Kleb, and Rosicky. My goodness, the football then was so sweet. Watching Arsenal then, it was amazing. Yeah. Even Nasri, as much as we hate them right now, when Nasri came in and Fabregas, you used to enjoy watching football. The goals we used to score with Wilshere, Ramsey, even Walcott on the right side. There are so many good goals you can remember, good creativity, chances. Yeah. We used to create even 20 chances per game. But the way we've moved from Vieira and the likes of Fabregas to right now, El Neni, Niles. We are talking about El Neni and Niles when you used to have Fabregas and the likes of Cazorla in midfield. There's been something went wrong in the midfield there. Something definitely went wrong. I don't know if it's the manager, because even for Wenger, it kind of changed a bit in the last few years, stopped getting those kind of players. So for me, we needed to sort our midfield, definitely, and I'm hoping we do. In terms of comparison between who needs to replace Xhaka, I actually don't think it's any of those two. I'm really thinking Ruben Neves would be the guy to replace Xhaka. Because can Awar really do the tackling and all that the way Xhaka used to do? I don't think so. Unless we afford, Partey would need to do a lot of work in midfield because Awar and those other players would go forward. Partey would need to do a lot of work in midfield. So if you're looking for a direct replacement for Xhaka, that would have to be Neves. And that is why I think from those 4 or 5 players we've been talking about, we still need 2 of them. We definitely need 2, not 1. If you're getting, you have to get like a Ruben Neves first, and then now you get 1 from those other players, a Maddison or an Awar. Personally, as we've always said, I'd get Neves and Maddison because they're Premier League experienced. They've been here for a lot of years, but Arsenal will probably get Awar because it's cheaper. I don't think, as Kent says in the chat, I don't think Awar is a solution, but he's definitely better than what we have. He's definitely better than what we have, or what we don't have. We have nothing in midfield. We have no goals in midfield. We have no assists from midfield. We have no leadership in midfield. We have no positioning in midfield. Literally right now, we don't have anything in midfield. You'd talk to a Chelsea fan and they'd tell you what they need. They'd tell you, maybe we have goals, we already have assists, we need this in midfield. They'll tell you one thing. If you go to United, they tell you, okay, we don't want Fred and McTominay. We need someone who can attack more. They'll mention one thing. But for us, with our midfield, we can mention like 7 to 10 problems that we have in midfield. So I don't think one player can cover all that. Neves and Maddison will probably help us cover at least 8 out of 10, both of them. And even Awar, if you get Awar instead of Maddison, let's not forget Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe and Saka are still part of our team, and they can play in those positions, and I trust them 100%. So for me, I'd try and get Maddison and Ruben Neves. But if you got Awar, I'd be okay with it. But I'm really not sure if Awar is going to play for us in a 4-2-3-1. Maybe as a number 10, I'm not sure. So at least he is an improvement to what we have, though.
Yeah, I mean, I was when we were beginning this window, and I was speaking about the position, this especially by the fact that Xhaka is linked to a move away to Roma. I said these words, and I'll say them again. It depends on what we want to use Partey for. For me, whoever comes in that position is dictated by Thomas Partey and what we want to use Thomas Partey for. If we want to use Partey as our box to box, as our powerhouse, as our engine, then you bring in someone like Bissouma who can actually do all the donkey work for him. If you want, if you want Partey to do the donkey work, if you want him to do the tackling, if you want to do him, you want him to do the interceptions and things like that, which is also very good at art as well. Then I think you bring in like someone like Houseman. The reason as to why I rejected Bissouma from the first place, despite the fact that I like him, and I'm a big fan of him, and I do rate him, is if you bring in Bissouma at the moment, and you have Thomas Partey. I mean, look, Partey is so good, but he doesn't provide you with that final ball. And for me, what I want is a press that creates chances. I don't want a press that reaches the final third. And then passes the ball around for 10 minutes without creating something. And that's why I decided on the likes of Aouar, because I think with Houseman Aouar, you can keep the ball. If you look at his seat map, you look at his passing accuracy, it's almost 87%. He can keep the ball for as long as you can. He can dictate the tempo of the game. He can give you the vibe. He can give you the rhythm. I think he's a very good game controller. Not so much of a game controller like Martin Ødegaard or Thomas Partey, but I think he can also be a very good game controller. If you made him that. So the only reason that's why I would go for Aouar in central midfield is the extra benefits you get from him, especially in terms of goal contribution. Scores at least 5 goals in a season as a central midfielder. Xhaka scores 1 per season, and then he creates for you at least 10 assists. 7 assists per season. Xhaka creates for you around 2 or 3, which I think would be an upgrade. Of course, there's a big question when it comes to the defensive attributes of Aouar. But why I would say maybe it's not a big fiasco is look at City. How many defensive players do City have in the midfield? I think they play with Fernandinho, De Bruyne, do they play Rodri or they play Bernardo?
Yeah, they
in a
usually
fourth.
play like a Bernardo, but they
Yeah, they
usually
usually
dominate possession a lot.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I think what Mikel wants is to dominate a possession, and that's what I want as well. I'm tired of us being thoughtful of the opponent than actually releasing our potential. The strategy should be come on this pitch and be so good for the opponent, be extremely good for the opponent to handle, not try to handle the opponent because you think you can manage them well. If we do game management from day 1 to day 90 or to day 38 of the Premier League, we can never win the title. We can never go top 4. We can never go anywhere. So that's why I would love House Hour. More, a player that actually adds so much to shot creating actions, goal contribution, and things like that. But look, do you think Partey can be that number 6? Because that's a big question. Like I said, it depends on what Partey we want to use Partey for. Do you think it can be that number 6, settle in that role to defend the back four, and then give Aouar the freedom? Because with Aouar, roles change. Partey becomes the 6, Aouar becomes the 8. He gets the freedom, and he gets more time on the ball.
I think it's just what you said. It really depends on how Arteta wants to play. I think Partey can do any of those positions in midfield. One thing that is very important in midfield, as we've talked about before, is positioning and your awareness. I think Partey is aware and he knows he's a midfielder. Someone like a Guendouzi, you can never play him in that position because he will move to the left, he will move to the right. Ceballos will move forward, they'll forget about staying in their position. All those players, they'll not know their job. They'll forget about their job. Even Niles, you can't put Niles in that position. He will start drifting off to different places and forget about midfield. So I think Partey, if you tell Partey to play number 6, he will play number 6. If you tell him play number 8, he will play number 8. If you tell him play as a goalkeeper, he will know he's playing as a goalkeeper. He will do the job for you wherever you want him. So I think he can play any of those positions. If he's a defensive midfielder, he has the awareness, he has the tackling, he has the ability to play in that position, physicality as well to battle with the midfielders. The midfielders in England are no joke. Even Kante with his size, you cannot take the ball away from him. The Milivojevic from Crystal Palace, those kind of players in midfield, those are physical players. They can hurt you anytime. Even Rodri at Man City, they are very, very powerful.
Bissouma absolutely destroyed us against Brighton.
Yeah, and that is why you can't have someone like a Torreira playing in that position for a lot of years for us. So he can, if you ask him to go forward, like an Aouar position, either side of the central midfielder, he can also do that job. Plus, Partey is also not scared of shooting the ball. That is an advantage with him. If he gets space up front, he will shoot the ball for you. And he can actually pick out a pass. We've seen him picking out Lacazette against Sheffield United, Aubameyang against Newcastle. He can actually pick out a pass. So I think he's okay with that. But for me, it really depends on what he wants to do in terms of formation-wise. That formation thing, again, also matters because you have to know what you're doing. If you get the midfield wrong, you're going to lose the game by 5 goals. Midfield is the most important position on the pitch. If you get it wrong and your discipline is wrong, you're going to be overrun. Those teams in the Premier League are no joke. The Aston Villas, do you see how much work McGinn does for Aston Villa in midfield?
That so guy
much he will be up front.
That guy
That's
is
like
a beast.
My dream signing.
Yeah, look, when I was thinking about my first dream signings, Joe McGinn was part of them. Look, if you told me which player do I give you at Aston Villa, there's so many of them. I could take Oli Watkins, I could take Matty Cash, I could take Jack Grealish, I take Joe McGinn. Look, I could take Martinez, right? But it's Joe McGinn for me. I could take Tyrone Mings, but it's Joe McGinn. It's Joe McGinn. He's absolutely unplayable. Absolutely unplayable.
So you can see the number of things Aston Villa have. They have McGinn who can box to box, left, middle. He can shoot the ball. They have Barkley. He can move everywhere. He can pass the ball. He can create. They have Grealish. He can cover those positions. I think that is also what we need. That's why can't Arsenal just go and sign 2 of these players? Why I always talk about 1? Does it have to be 1? We need so many things in midfield, as I've said, goals, leadership, all that. Why can't we go for at least 2 players in midfield and cover that position? We've always had that trouble over the years. If we had Aubameyang in 2016, we would have beaten Leicester for the league. We had we had good midfielders at the time, Ozil,
Yeah,
Sanchez, but we
exactly.
didn't have a striker
Exactly.
who can finish.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right.
A few years ago as well, we had good defenders, we didn't have a striker. A few years we have bad defenders, good strikers, and then the balance is wrong. So if right now we need midfielders, just go and get those 2 midfielders that we need. Go and get those 3 midfielders that we need. Let's get different things in midfield. Personally, if you ask me what I'd play next season, I'd stick to the 4-2-3-1, and I'd get Locatelli and Ruben Neves to play next to Partey, and then I'll still sign an Awar up front, so that you can have different ideas. You see Chelsea right now, they can play different formations. They can play a 4-2-3-1, have Jorginho and Conte. They can have more midfielders in, throw in Mount, throw in Havertz. Different styles of play. Let's not have one style of play. Let's have players who can play different styles of play, different formations. So get 2 of those players, like Awar, knowing we can play a 4-2-3-1, knowing we can play a 4-3-3. Players who can cover different positions, and then we can be back in business now.
Yeah, and you know what? Yeah, when I think about what you're speaking about, it is more like the reason as why Leicester City can never win the league again, with the quality Liverpool and United and City are creating, and Chelsea squad depth. I don't know if they're gonna work on that probably in the coming years, but squad depth, they have always struggled. They have always been so good for the first half of the season, and then they will struggle in the year because players are tired, players are getting injured, and they lack the squad depth. I've seen they brought in Somare, they brought in Patson Daka now. They have Ryan Bertrand. I think they're trying to work on that. But look, if we don't have the squad depth, we shall touch on that when we speak about our expectations so far. If the window closed by now, or probably if Mikel Arteta got his signings, our expectations. We speak about squad depth because it's one of the factors that actually win the league without people noticing it. It wins the league, but people never notice it. But it's one of the reasons as to why you will or will not win the league. Right. So, closing remarks on Houssem Aouar. He's leading the race with Manuel Locatelli. If Juve fail to get the beat up, then Locatelli comes in. If Juve take the man, then and we convince Locatelli to join, then it is and we fail to convince Locatelli, then it is Houssem Aouar. Speaking about Aouar, because for me, inside me, I feel like it's gonna be the man. It's going to be the person that joins. Are you contented? You feel like, you're fine with him, or you're like, I would have done something better than that?
Tavares improves in what we have. Ben White improves on what we have, and I stick to the point of I think Aouar will improve on what we have or what we don't have. So I will not tell you no. I will definitely tell you yes, because we don't want a situation where one player gets injured and then the players coming from the bench, you have to literally change your whole game plan because they're not good enough. Because if someone gets injured in our team like a Smith Rowe, you're having to bring in El Neni and all your game plan changes. So I'll definitely take Aouar. I'm not sure on Locatelli because I also want players who want to play for Arsenal. I don't want players who are coming here because of money. I think Willian came to Arsenal because he wanted money and to stay in London. I don't want players like that. I want players I want a player to talk to Arteta and actually like what he's saying, be part of the plan and like, you know what, I actually like this idea. I'm going to really enjoy playing next to Partey. I'm going to enjoy being a mentor to Saka and Smith Rowe. I'm going to enjoy working with Aubameyang and Lacazette. I want a player who wants to join. I don't want a player who's going to be like, you know what, Juventus are giving me 100 million, Arsenal are giving me 150,000, these ones are giving me 100 million. Okay, let me just go to Arsenal. No, I don't want those kind of players. I want a player who wants to actually join the project and help us because what happens if you sign a player who doesn't want to be there? After 3 months, you start noticing it. You start noticing players who don't want to be there. So for me, I definitely get Aouar. I think he'll add goals, something we need in midfield. Guendouzi, 1 goal in 2 seasons. Partey, 0 goals in 1 season. Xhaka, 1 free kick per season. No goals in midfield. El Neni, 2 good shots in a season from outside the box. We need goals for midfield. We need creativity for midfield. Fabregas used to give us 15 goals and 10 assists in a season, man. Like, we need that kind of play in our midfield. So I definitely get Aouar.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So center mid. I'll keep updating you guys with whatever happens with that with that central midfield position. But there's a lot being anticipated to happen this week with House and Manuel Locatelli. Please do smash a like on the video. Make sure we are at we smash that like button to as many likes as we can, because it really helps the channel and it helps us as well. So please do smash the like button. Let's get them to 100. That is quite decent. 100 likes, and that will be our target will be hit. So just moving slightly away from center mid to the advanced area, Glenn, which is our attacking mid. Two names are now leading. One, with rumors that are from Spain, which I do not really trust, that Arsenal will wait for Martin Ødegaard, for Martin Ødegaard until August to see whether he's actually happy or he's actually gonna be part of the Real Madrid team. And the other rumor still in the same line, that Madrid could actually make a U-turn on their decision and decide to sell him because they want Kylian Mbappe to come in. And of course, a couple of reports coming out to trash those reports, and especially my main man, Jan Edfrojo, saying that the man is gonna stay. The man will stay at Real Madrid. Is gonna be part of the project they're building next season. What do you think about Arsenal waiting for Martin Ødegaard before we get to his impact as a player? Do you think he's worth it? We are waiting for Manuel Locatelli, and now we want to add something like waiting for Martin Ødegaard until August probably to see whether he will be available.
So I opened my dictionary yesterday and I went to the W and I cancelled the word wait. We have no time to wait as Arsenal fans. The season is starting in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We have no time to wait for anyone. I don't want us to lose the first 3 games and then we are bringing in players. When you're already 16th on the table, you're already 9 points behind City. I don't want us to. I want a player. The latest I want players to be joining Arsenal, the crucial players, is by next week, Friday. I want these players to come in very, very quickly. Forgetting about that and focusing on Ødegaard, the name and the player, let's be honest, he actually did help us. He actually did change a bit of Arsenal last season.
Yeah.
The moment he joined, like a game like West Ham, Benfica, Olympiacos, you could see the difference with Ødegaard being there. He brought a few very good passes, the vision, that is what you need in that position. He brought the vision. He obviously understands Arsenal by now. He's been here for 5 months, so if he joins, he wouldn't need time to really adapt. He already knows where to pass the ball to Aubameyang. He already knows Smith Rowe, which kind of run he'll make. He already knows which kind of run Lacazette will do. So that actually helps if you're already trained with people. But we have no time to wait. If they want him, you'd have already gotten him by now. If they really wanted him, you'd have already paid the money by now if you're that important. And I don't know. I think I also kind of need what we've always said the past 2 weeks. We need something different at Arsenal, something we never had. And I also think Ødegaard is a bit too left-footed. I need someone who can use both feet. Do you see De Bruyne? De Bruyne, if he shoots the ball with the right foot and the left foot, you wouldn't know the difference because it's almost the same. Even Maddison can use his left. Santi Cazorla. I need someone who can also use both feet in midfield. I think Ødegaard is a bit too left-footed. I think those days are a bit over. David Silva was very good in using one foot. Mata was very good back in the day using one foot. But right now, you also need a few differences. Because right now, Pepe, he only uses his left foot. And then you get Ødegaard only uses his left foot. Nah. We need something different. I need someone who can use both feet in that position for me.
Yeah, one of the accuses Martin Ødegaard is getting, and one of the statements I would never agree to the people are making on Twitter, on the channel, in YouTube comments, on WhatsApp, and wherever platform they get the chance to express themselves, is Martin Ødegaard is not good enough for the Premier League. That one I will never accept it. I'll never accept that. Never. I think what people do, because the first thing is it's unfair to compare him to James Maddison in terms of delivering in the Premier League. Maddison has played on this platform 3 consecutive seasons, right? 3 consecutive seasons. You have a player who has barely played a year in that league, has created a massive impact at a struggling Arsenal. We have not even, because if you look at the quality of players Maddison has around him, yes, he's brilliant as a player. You can you can see his individual brilliance, but you have the likes of Tielemans, you have the likes of Ndidi, you have Jamie Vardy. If you create the chances, it's going to score them. Ødegaard is coming in at the Arsenal side that has Aubameyang as a sleeping lion that will never wake up. We don't know the time frame, that's going to reset and wake up. You're looking at him, playing with players like, Partey, who's so inconsistent. Elneny, who is really not good enough as well. The likes of Ceballos, who are actually not on point. I think the stick is getting from Arsenal fans is a little bit too much and over exaggerated. Do you think it's not good enough for Premier League? Do you think Premier League football is not good enough for? He's not good enough for Premier League? Because for me, I think he's good enough for the Premier League. If you brought him in, gave him a Pep Guardiola, Arsenal fans would be screaming 2 seasons, two seasons later. We should have signed Ødegaard. He was cheap. He was a bargain then.
I look at Ødegaard like a Bernardo Silva because they're both left-footed and that kind of role. I don't agree with people who saying I didn't play well for Arsenal. I think he actually did make a difference. We were struggling badly for goals, and he did help us in a couple of games. Not many games, but he did help us in a few games that we would have struggled in. I think they're being unfair, yes, definitely. I don't think he's that much terrible of a player. But as you've said, he needs someone to work with him. Wait. I have no time to wait for people to be worked on. We already have Saka and Smith Rowe who we need to work on because they are youngsters. We need someone who's 100% used to that position, 100% going to have immediate impact, hit the ground running immediately, and help Arsenal. Otherwise, we'd be out of the Champions League for 10 years. We've already been out for almost 5 years now. We have no time to wait. If Ødegaard is a different option you have in the squad, I'd definitely have him. Let's say you have like a Maddison and then you also have an Ødegaard in the team, then that is fine. Because if you need to attack and you're 1-0 down, you can throw in Maddison and Ødegaard, both of them. Different kind of players, both of them can create, you have something different. If you have him on the bench, something different from the bench, you can have him. If Maddison needs to rest, you throw in Ødegaard in the team. That is fine. If he's going to be like part of the squad, that is fine. As the main player though, and also that price, if he's like 25 million, I'd pay. But 50 million for Ødegaard, I'd rather get that extra 20 million and go for Maddison. I don't think we should pay 50 million for Ødegaard. You need a player who's already 100% in that position, not 90%. I think we are being unfair in terms of judging him too much. As I said, I think he did a good job at Arsenal most of the time last season. But main player, main number 10 for us, I'm not sure. We need to make differences, man. Like that position, Grealish plays for Aston Villa in that position. Maddison plays for Leicester. De Bruyne plays for City. Fernandes plays. Do you see the kind of impact Fernandes has for United?
Yeah,
If Fernandes is not in that team, United are done. Thiago at Liverpool, even though we haven't seen much of him, if he starts playing 100% without injuries, he'll make a difference. So we need someone like, if Ødegaard is coming in, you need him to make huge difference. Can we depend on Ødegaard? Like, Ødegaard, you know what? We are 1-0 down. Change the game for us. De Bruyne will change the game for you. Maddison will change the game for you. Will Ødegaard change the game for you that much?
Yeah, I think that is that's the point. I would absolutely agree with that. If anyone told me, Cossy, you can't rely on Ødegaard because you've got to build him, you've got to polish him. And one of the things I said really quite well is he's not a risk taker. He's afraid of taking the risks he should take in that position. James Maddison is not. He takes the risks. He's got. I'm gonna do a comparison video. It should be coming out today or tomorrow. And if you look at both players, Ødegaard is so much of a game controller. He wants to have the ball, pass it short, get it back, and pass it short again. Maddison doesn't have that time. He wants to shoot or release someone, into the final area for a final ball. I think that is where the difference comes in.
If Ødegaard went to Man City, he'd be part of the Ballon d'Or because of the way City play. If he ends up playing, because there are other players who are going to help him out, the likes of De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva. So if he comes in as a second player, not the main player, come in as a guy who's going to help De Bruyne in terms of creating, he would make a huge difference to their team. So I still think we need someone else. And then if you sign Ødegaard as a second player in that position, that is fine. So you can have something different. But as the main player, let's splash 70 million for Ødegaard and that's it for the transfer window. I don't think that will amuse anyone.
right then, of course, speaking about speaking about that area still, it looks like James Maddison who's on the radar, who's leading the radar to join Arsenal for that, in that position. And the big question for me is, we'll ask first and foremost, do you think we'll pay that 70 million, or we will get a compromise? I think the deal will get done. I'm just getting this confidence after paying 50 million for Ben White. I'm just beginning to build this confidence I never had for in Arsenal, even even under the Arsene Wenger era. So I think I'm becoming deluded. Am I? I don't know. But do you think we'll pay that money?
70 million? I don't think so. Personally, I'd pay the most. I'd pay 60. Personally, the most I'd pay 60. 70 million. If they do, listen, I'd be happy if they do. That would show me that Arsenal are actually trying to change their ways in the transfer market. Because this thing of we have 65 million, we don't have 70 million. Come on, you need to change your ways. Like the last few years, that is why City have won trophies. They've splashed cash. They've paid 50 million for Mendy, 50 million for Walker, 60 million for Stones, 60 million for someone else. So this thing of we don't have that extra 5 million, no. If they splash 70 million for Maddison, I will not come to you and tell you, why did Arsenal pay 70 million for Maddison? I'd be very happy. I'd be like, you know what? We attracted Maddison to Arsenal. We paid the money for him, and he's actually going to bring a difference at Arsenal. I will not complain, definitely. So for me, I'd pay 60 million. But if they pay 70, I wouldn't be disappointed. That will show me that they've changed their ways. Last season, I saw your video in the morning. Last season, 40 million for Partey, 45 million, 20-something for Gabriel, and then so many loans. Ødegaard loan, Tavares loan, Ryan loan. No, we have to change our ways. I actually usually don't like loan deals. I usually hate loan deals because a player will come and have so much impact and then he's leaving after 2 months. I usually don't like that. Usually, Arsenal never used to get players on loan. We never used to get players on loan. The only ones I remember are the people like Karlstroms and Benayoun's. We never used to get players on loan. So for me, I want to see us change our ways in the transfer market, and getting Maddison for 70 million would be one thing we are going to notice as a change. And I think that would excite Arsenal fans. If Maddison signed, I think that would be very exciting for Arsenal fans.
Yeah, obviously. So let's get to his impact. Just like how I think what you get is from heaven to hell, from hell to heaven. You have it's like getting a return ticket, and you're the most broke guy on earth. I think if you get James Maddison, the number of goals you score, will multiply if he clicks. The number of assists, Aubameyang, and I think he will actually help us get the right appraisal. If we got Aouar and Maddison, they would actually help us get the right appraisal of what Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang is all about in these 2 seasons, in last season and maybe this season. So I think it creates that impact of urgency in the final third, something that we do not have. We really lag and drag a lot in the final third. Arsenal always passing that ball, we are short of ideas. We are lacking this and that. I mean, it would be the biggest impact you would ever have, in an Arsenal side. I've never seen it. Maybe Mesut Ozil or Alexis Sanchez, but I think Maddison would give us, such a big impact.
Yeah, those names you mentioned, man. We only needed a striker. We only need a striker.
Exactly.
Personally, if you ask me, I know people hate Sanchez, but Sanchez is actually in my top 10 Arsenal players of all time. There are some games Sanchez used to play for us, and he'd literally make the difference entirely. Yeah. Leicester away, West Ham away, those kind of games, Sanchez was way too good. So if you can get those kind of players right now, for me, I'd definitely be very happy. We need a lot of changes at Arsenal, especially midfield-wise. So I don't have time to wait. We need to get those players very soon as possible. We don't have the Europa League next season or those kind of competitions. So we have 4 games remaining in preseason, and he needs to get the lineup right. He needs to know what he's going to do next season.
Actually, the Inter Milan game could actually get cancelled because Inter Milan are scared of the spreading COVID. It's called the COVID Delta variant in Florida.
So there are still 2 other teams in that competition. So I think we'll get a bye to the final to play that Everton or that Millonarios team or something. I still think they would travel to play those games. So for me, we need to get. They can. I don't know how fast they can schedule a friendly, but you need to get the lineup right. You need to know this player does not work in this position before the season starts, because we don't want to get to City away in the third game and then we don't know which formation to use. That kind. City already know right now. Guardiola knows which formation he's going to use in the 8th game of the season because he knows his squad, he knows everything. So we need to get everything right in the team before the season starts. Right now, in the next 2-3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. But look, we had another option there that I would have really loved to see. I mean, it's really wayward, but Grealish, we were linked with Grealish at the beginning of the window, and Grealish is obviously 100 million. So we're not going to speak about the price and accessibility. But my concern is, do you think Grealish would give us a better impact than James Maddison?
Oh yes, 100%. Because Maddison is purely a number 10. Grealish can play for you as a number 10. He can play for you on the left side. He can play for you on the right side. He can make. There are things that Maddison is better, like set piece, corners. I think corners. Maddison is very good. The pace he puts on those corners, you literally don't even have to head the ball. You can just place your head there, and it will hit you and go in because of the pace he puts in. Free kicks, Maddison. I don't think Grealish can ever be better than Maddison in those things. But in terms of having impact in the team, like creating relationships with players in the team, I think he's better than him. Also, he's also captain Aston Villa, so a bit of leadership. I think the number of free kicks he wins in the team as well, Grealish, is way more than Maddison. So he gives you, if you're trying to waste time, like you're 1-0 ahead against Chelsea, you will keep the ball a lot if you have Grealish in the team. So I think, Grealish should have way much impact than not that much, but 100%, I'd say Maddison 40, Grealish 60. Have that.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing I love about Grealish is the fact that when if you're talking about taking risks, then he's even a bigger risk taker than Maddison, because how many shots does he average per 90? Around 2.5 or around 2.3 shots per 90 in every game. That is so good for a player. And of course, if you look at his numbers in terms of goals scored last season, chances created for Oli Watkins, he's made Oli Watkins look like Benzema, literally.
Yeah, because they create so many chances. Like any striker, if they had someone like Kane at Aston Villa, he would score like 60 goals in a season because of the creativity in the team and Kane scoring goals. Grealish is way too good in the team, but the money, we cannot afford it. We can afford it, but I don't think we are yet to get to that level of paying 100 million. Let's first pay 60s and 70s, and then we can move to 100 million.
You know what's happened here? Arsenal have announced something like it's like the first clip from the Amazon Prime thing, right? So everyone is and Charles Watts has just said the announcement you've been looking for, you've been waiting for. Here you go.
It's soon.
Arsenal is so disappointed. Instead of announcing Lokonga, they actually put out a clip of I've not even looked at it, clearly, but they put out
Vivian,
a clip.
They put out a clip of Vivian Miedema, the Arsenal women's team player, and then they are milking it. That's what it's called. They want us to wait. They want us to wait.
And for me, this is ridiculous. Really, really ridiculous, right?
You don't really do this with players like Lokonga. You do that when you're signing a player like Maddison. Because last season as well, we waited for Gabriel. They even scheduled a YouTube video for us to wait for another 2 hours. So for me, no, we need to get this, make the fans happy, because sometimes you don't want many fans to turn on you that quickly. So you need to get players on site very quickly, because you're already doing badly the last 3 seasons. So you need to get fans on site, and that is by announcing players very quickly. I think we're going to announce him today, though, in a few hours.
Anyway, someone said the guy managing our socials is a Southampton fan.
It could be. I think it's just all about what you can do as a social media. I think that's what they look at.
Yeah. So, Glenn, you think right? I mean, the incomings, the 7 players, we are close. We are closer and closer and closer. Mikel Arteta is getting his squad. What do you reckon? What is your recommendation? How much time you give him? I won't speak about that because I'm gonna do a whole appraisal video on how to fix Arsenal and how we lost our identity. So it's coming out. Wait for it. Make sure you do smash a like on the video and do subscribe. But Glenn, what do you reckon? Now you have Ben White. Now probably could have Awa. Probably could have Maddison. Probably could have a new right back. What do you reckon from Mikel Arteta? Apart from, according to his blueprint, what we have seen so far last season, not the performances, but what he's trying to do, and the quality of players he's trying to get. Do you think any good news? And how much time would you give him if he fails at this project?
Yeah, 7 players is definitely the number of players you've been mentioning, the number we've been mentioning of players we need. So 7 would be very enough. Backup goalkeeper, backup left back, a new right back, central midfielder, attacking midfielder, so obviously Ben White, central defender. So those kind of players would be very good. And also we need to get rid of some as well. If he gets all those players until January, you give him until January. Let's see how he does. Because if we get to January and we are like 8th, that would definitely not be it. That will definitely be you bring in a new manager who you can give the 5 remaining months to make an impact. Don't wait until April, because I usually don't see the point of changing a manager in April. I think Chelsea changed like around January or February. That's when you need to change a manager if things are not working. But if you're getting if like we are 4th, let's say by January 1st, maybe 4th or 3rd, let's just say, then don't just like be like, you know what, we are 3rd, let's try and get to the end of the season. No, you give him at least one more player, someone to add something else, because January a lot of our players are leaving for the African Cup. So that time we could drop some points. So you need someone else to come into the team and just keep supporting him, like the owners keep supporting him. Add more players in January, because we know we needed a lot of players. Because if Bellerin leaves, Xhaka leaves, Mustafia's left, Kolasinac leaves, Ryan left, Martinez left, backup goalkeeper. If another player leaves again, a lot of players have left. So we needed 7 to 10 players. So in January, keep supporting him again. Let's not get comfortable. If we are 3rd or 4th, around there, or 5th, I'd throw in a couple of more players in January and let's try again. If we are 8th or 10th and we are not looking anywhere near the top 6 or anything, then you obviously need to change the manager by January.
I'm gonna reckon this, and it will. I don't know if it'll happen, but I'm gonna predict this. In January, we will not bring in anyone. After
That's
such
the
a
sad
summer,
part. Yeah.
after such a summer, you don't expect anyone in January, do you?
If you're a serious team, you do, because as I said, really depends on how many. Also depends on how many injuries you have. You know, Arsenal. Can you really bet that Arsenal will not get any injuries until January? I'm not sure. Also, players leaving for the African Cup. That January we have to play Manchester City, Tottenham, and we won't have Pepe, we won't have Aubameyang, we won't have Partey, we won't have El Neni if he's still an Arsenal player. If Onana is at Arsenal, we won't have him as well. A lot of players are leaving for the African Cup. So what will we have remaining? Just Lacazette and Saka. That is not enough. So we need at least another player to help us. Now that is when you get a loan deal. That is when you can get a loan deal for someone to come and help you out for 6 months. I think we might not sign anyone, but I think you can throw in maybe a one player on loan or something.
Yeah, right. I wanted us to talk about 2 last topics. One is Kroenke finally decides to back the manager, because this is not unless we have taken a bit, because with Arsenal things, they're funny. After spending the money, then they can announce that Arsenal actually took a 200 million loan from Citibank, and
Yeah.
it will be paid by the club. So we will not have any signings coming in, for the next 2 or 3 years. And you're like, what the hell? So Kroenke finally deciding to spend as we know it at the moment. We've been struck, we've been struck hard by the COVID-19 pandemic, and our economics are not so good. But we are spending money. This is purely Kroenke. So what are your thoughts on that? You think his turnaround is he's willing to invest all of the sudden, or do you think it is the pressure, or you think he's planning something, because with capitalists, whatever move they make, they are planning something. There is something coming up.
I just don't trust that man, Cossy. That man, that whole family, I don't trust them, man. I do not trust them. If he's actually removing all this money for us to buy players, if it's actually coming from his pocket, which is not, because we've taken loans and everything, if it was really coming out from his pocket, then I wouldn't say that they had a plan over the years. I'd just say it is pressure. Their Super League idea has failed, and they've been put in a corner where fans are protesting. Fans are threatening not to buy shirts, and it's just a lot of pressure. And I really hate that they had to wait all that time. We are so used to Arsenal being in the top 4. Now we are like struggling to get into the UEFA Conference League, and then now that is when you're deciding to act. It's already almost too late, because you almost cost the manager the job if you're in the side of Arteta needed players and stuff. You've already cost the manager the job. Let's be honest, some fans have really lost interest in Arsenal as well. We've already lost a whole generation of people born like in 2012, 2013. Do you think anyone would watch the team and be like, I'm going to support Arsenal the last 5-6 years? I don't think so. So we've lost a lot of fans to City, new fans. We've lost a lot of fans to Liverpool's, Leicester's. So we've lost a whole generation of fans. So they've already waited for too long to get the players and to get some changes at Arsenal. But we cannot focus on the past. We have to focus on the future. So if they're getting these players, we have to support the team, and let's see what to do next season. But it's a very big season for everyone. It's a big season for Arteta. I really wanted Arteta to be successful at Arsenal. It's a big season for someone like Aubameyang. He needs to. The friendly is missing those chances. He needs to convert those chances next season. It's a big season if Lacazette stays. I think a lot of people want him gone. So if he stays, it's a huge season for him. Saka, you can have one very good season, but what will he do in the next season? I know you don't want to put too much pressure on him, but let's see what he does next season as well. If he has the kind of impact as he did last season, he's a world-class player. Let's see what Ben White does at Arsenal. Leno, big season for him. Last season, he cost us a couple of games. Let's see what you do. If anyone remains, Willock or Nines, big seasons for them. So Kroenke as well, big season for them if they're still going to be here.
Yeah, I mean, it's time to decide, and if I pray this is not like a way to shield off the pressure, and then we go back again, because it will really push us far behind. It's like taking 2 steps back and then only half a step up in front. So because the danger in that is you could sign in the likes of Maddison, and things like that. They click, you sell them, and then fans have already lost the morale to pressurize Stan Kroenke as well, because many Arsenal fans think our problem is not spending. So the moment you spend, they're gonna back him. They might not back him directly, but they will forget about it. They will just fly over, and in the next 2, 3, 4 years, we're back at square one, and everyone is like, we didn't know, things could have been better. But finally, in the last 1 minute, let's talk about the appraisal and not appraisal, but expectation. Okay, what do you expect of next season then? Because personally, I think the whole season, I don't expect Arsenal to be below top 5. There is no reason. There is no excuse. I'm not reckoning Arsenal to win the league. I'm not reckoning Arsenal to challenge for the league, because if the work we are doing now has been done by Chelsea last season, has been done by City for the last 5 seasons, and has been done by Liverpool for the last 3 seasons, and has been done by United for the last 2 or 3 seasons. So I think they're more prepared, and we are just preparing. We might get well prepared, but they are prepared already, and they are already at that level. So I don't expect any Arsenal fans to say, Cossy, we should win the league. I've seen people say, Cossy, Bissouma, Partey, Maddison, we win the league. And I'm like, right, wow. So I don't expect us to win the league, not even top 2. But if we challenge for the top 4, top 5 positions, then I'll reckon that there is progress. Last season, there was no progress, honestly. Absolutely no progress. So what do you think? What do you think of our season? What do you expect of our season?
Yeah, we need to see differences from day one. The one thing we've seen with Arsenal over the years, especially the last 3 years, by as early as November, we're already out of the top 4 race. Come on, we already have 7 months in the season and they're already out. No, be amongst it. Be amongst it from day one. Okay, we don't have to win the first game, but be amongst it. Be in September. Let's see Arsenal around the top 5, top 6, not 10 points behind top 4 already. No, let's see them around there. Even if we are 7th in October and we're only 2-3 points behind top 4, that is okay, as long as you're in and around it. Don't leave too much work to be done. Don't be 11th with 15 points behind Aston Villa now. That is already too much work to be done. Around February, let's be amongst the top 5. Let's be around there. We don't have to be fast on the table by January. Be amongst there. Even if don't be 40 points behind Man City who are top of the table now. Compete. At least try and compete. Win games. Don't draw away too many games. Don't lose 4 games in a row like we did last season. Last season, November and December was terrible. We went like 10 games without winning any game. We cannot have those kind of runs. The most we can go without winning a game is maybe 2 games. The most you can go without winning a game. But this story of Arsenal has gone 6 games without a win. We've drawn with Burnley. We lost to City. We're losing to Liverpool. We didn't score a goal in 6 games. I don't want to hear any of that next season. You have the players. If you're getting Maddison and Awari, I'm even thinking you have to get top 3 or all of you are gone. Because if you get those kind of players, there's no excuses at all. I don't want to see any favorism. I don't want to see if Aubameyang is not playing well. I don't want to hear Aubameyang is going to play every single game because his name is Aubameyang. I don't want to see Ben White is going to play every single game because he's 50 million and he's not doing well. No. If you're not doing well, you get benched. The other players on the bench. Let's see everyone else play. Let's give equal opportunities to anyone. If a player is playing well, there's no dropping him. If Pepe is playing well, let him play 10 games in a row. Let's see what he does. I don't want to see Lacazette scoring 6 games in a row and then he's on the bench for the 7th one. No. All those things, I want to see all changes in all those things. I want us to score goals. I want us to create more chances. I want us to defend well. I want players to have impact. I want to see leadership. I don't want to see silly red cards. I do not want to see Pepe headbutting someone. I do not want to see Xhaka choking someone even if it's not here next season. I do not want to see Leno handling the ball outside the box. I do not want to see us to get 7 red cards in a season. No. I do not want to see us picking up 40, 50 yellow cards in a season and we become number 1 in terms of indiscipline in this league. No. All those things need to change. I want to see Arteta making a difference in the team. If we are not playing well, make the changes at halftime. I do not want to see us being 2-1 behind and you're waiting for the 85th minute. No.
Yeah.
If things are not working around, even if it's the 30th minute, make the decision immediately. Let's change things around. Another thing that needs changing. Lacazette, Aubameyang needs to convert their chances. We need some leadership in the team. And if all that happens and we get all those players, there's no reason why we can't get top 4. Absolutely no reason.
Right. Fode is one of those people in the Arsenal fan base. There is a section in the Arsenal fan base that has lost trust in Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and they have already forgotten what he's done, for us. But it is growing. It is growing, and I think by Christmas this year, it will be vocal enough that Aubameyang will be feeling that pressure on his heels and on his back. What do you reckon? Should we get in a good backup striker, probably someone that can sit on the bench, wait for Aubameyang, but probably bring in someone like Oli Watkins, because with of course we can't get Oli Watkins from Aston Villa. They can't allow it. But with Watkins, is what you have there is he can play for you. You can play for you in the next. He can become a starter in the next two seasons. Do you think we should safeguard ourselves? Do you think we could get someone like a Danny Ings? Good. Someone is talking about Danny Ings, and I talked about Danny Ings as well. Do you think we should get someone like Danny Ings, someone like a backup, a strong backup?
Now, if you get a new striker, that also kind of takes away some minutes from Martinelli and the likes of Balogun. Let's say Nketiah leaves. Oh, okay, let's include Nketiah because he's still here. Right now we have Aubameyang, Lacazette, Nketiah, Balogun, Martinelli. Most of us, if not all of us, want Nketiah to go. Some of us want Lacazette to go. Some people want Aubameyang to go. I don't think anyone wants Balogun to go. I think he needs an opportunity. I don't think anyone wants Martinelli to go. So something we've always needed, to be fair, is something different from the bench. We've always needed something different. I remember, as much as we usually didn't like to love Giroud that much, every time Giroud came from the bench, he used to change the game for us. I remember United away, there's a time we drew 1-1. Leicester City away, I think they're at home. The last 3 seasons ago, when we played the first game of the season, Lacazette's debut, Giroud scored the winner for us in the last minutes against Leicester. Against Bournemouth, when we were 3-0 down a couple of years ago, Giroud came in and scored an equalizer for us in the 90th minute, because it brings in something different. Because when you're losing a game in the last 10 minutes, you need to throw in balls into the box, put in crosses. So you need someone different in the box. I think someone like a Giroud would do that, and I think someone like an Ings could maybe do that as a backup striker. But before we started last season, right after lockdown, before we started last season, I always said that I don't think Aubameyang and Lacazette are our biggest problems, because Aubameyang had just come from a 20-goal season, winning us an FA Cup. Lacazette last season had a better season than Aubameyang. Lacazette did score goals last season. He did miss a lot of chances, but he did score a lot of goals last season for us. I don't think striking is our biggest problem. I know Aubameyang and Lacazette missed a lot of chances last season, especially. But I don't think Aubameyang had a disastrous season. I've always told you that, because he still got 20+ goal contributions. He still picked up a hat-trick against Leeds. He still scored a double to help us against Benfica. He still got goals. Yes, it was not enough for Aubameyang. Obviously, it was not enough, but I don't think he's become useless in just one season. You could say maybe after getting that much money, he became comfortable. You could say that maybe he became comfortable. I'm trying not to think that. I'm trying to think, yes, Aubameyang got sick last season when he went to play the African qualifiers. He got sick. He had trouble with his mom. I'm trying to think that is what affected him. I'm trying to believe that is what affected him last season, and that is why he didn't have a good season. I do think the captaincy is bringing a bit of too much pressure on him. That is why that time when he had a problem with his mom and he wasn't scoring goals and the concentration levels were a bit low, I think that is the time of Arteta should have put him on the side and talked to him. I'm thinking that is the time you should have told him, you know what, you're having trouble with your mom, you're having a lot of pressure, fans are turning on you. Do you think this captaincy is okay with you, or do you think you'd have a bit more freedom if we take it away from you? That is the opportunity we had to talk to Aubameyang about the captaincy. Then if he said no, then you could be like, you know what, Aubameyang has said no, let's take the captaincy away from him, let's give it to Tierney. Then that would have been okay. Because right now, if you go and say, let's take away the captaincy from Aubameyang, you're killing the love in the team. Because if Tierney gets the captaincy from Aubameyang, do you really expect Lacazette to look at Tierney like Tierney is my friend? I don't think so. So you're going to bring a lot of problems in the team. You can't just take the captaincy away from someone. We already missed a chance of taking it away from him, because I think that is bringing a lot of. I don't think Aubameyang is a captain. I think we only gave him because he scored a lot of goals. So I think we still can get one season from them. I still think you can get one good season from Aubameyang and Lacazette. I don't want us to splash cash. I think we need midfielders more than strikers. Again, as I said, in the last 6 years, if you look at the top 15 strikers and goals, Aubameyang is on the list, Lewandowski is on the list, Messi is on the list, Lacazette is on the list of the last 6-7 years, the number of goals they've scored. They've both scored 100 goals plus. So I don't think Aubameyang has become useless within 4, 5, 6 months. I do not think so. I think he had a lot of trouble personally last season. So I'm hoping we see a few changes from him. But as you said earlier, we can't have him too comfortable in the team. You have to have much impact. Run more, defend more, do all that more. If things are not working out, at least fight in the team like the Lacazette does. So I wouldn't get a striker. I'd splash the cash for midfielders first.
Thoughts on Adama? That's the last thing we'll touch on. Everybody, thanks for watching. Do smash a like on the video. Let's get them to 150 likes. Make sure you do that right about now. Let's get them to 150 likes. But Glenn, thoughts on Adama? I mean, We missed him in the Euros. He did get a chance to play in the Euros, and I think there is no way he plays in that in that Spanish side and how they want to play. Maybe he's a good player, but how Spain want to play, I don't see him really get involved. Would you add a fire horse like Adama to the Arsenal side? I think he has something that we don't have. He's gonna pull defenders apart. But would you add him? I think he's not our identity. That's what I'm gonna say. Not part of our identity. Not. I've not seen someone so strong like that at Arsenal. I don't believe Pep will take him, and I don't think Mikel Arteta wants to do that. Even Arsene Wenger, I don't think he will take him. At Arsenal.
Pace-wise, it reminds me of the Chamberlains and Walcott, who used to just run with the ball. Traore from the bench. Oh, he would be very good from the bench.
I would do that. He could be a game changer. 60 minutes.
Game changer, totally.
Yeah, game changer. Yeah.
But Traore, he does not score enough goals. Traore scored, I think, one goal. One goal for a player who plays almost every single game is not enough. Assists-wise, he was okay, but I think Traore is not a player who you can depend on to do the job for you. From the bench, the last 20 minutes, 30 minutes, come in and do the job, but I don't think he'll change anything. Maybe he'll just add that bench power and bench impact, but in terms of goals and assists, Traore does not score goals. We actually have players who score more. I think Martinelli scored more goals than him, and Martinelli played like only 4 games, so I don't think he has that much of an impact. And just to answer the last question from Nana says, yes, we do need a striker. And I'll give you the next comment after that from Kancho saying Oba needs this season before he should go. If Aubameyang and Lacazette don't deliver that this season, then you can definitely start looking for strikers. The only way you can tell me we need a striker and Aubameyang and Lacazette are totally useless is if you give me names of players that we can actually get. If you can mention for me players that we can actually afford, we cannot afford Haaland and Mbappe. If you can mention for me a player right now who we can afford and can do a job than Aubameyang, and he's a better player than Aubameyang right now, that is fine. Because even if you mention Ings gets injured half of the season. I do not trust him.
Yeah.
Aubameyang, the good thing with Aubameyang, I usually trust him in is he can play for you all 38 games in a season. He's very fit. Aubameyang is very fit in a season. Like, he does not get injured all over the place. But I still think we need to give them one season. You might say we need a striker, but I think we need a backup striker, not a main striker. Lacazette scored 20 plus goals last season. Now, our problem last season was creating chances. That was Arsenal's main problem. We needed someone to create chances. There are some games we played without creating any chances. There are some games we finished without seeing Aubameyang and Lacazette, and that is because we didn't have any chances. They missed a couple of chances here and there, but our trouble is midfield. It has never been striking the last 5 years.
Right, definitely. Thank you so much for Glenn. Thank you so much, Glenn, for coming on. Make sure you do follow Glenn on Twitter at Glenn Kitely, everything Arsenal. Make sure you subscribe to his channel. His channel link, his channel name is on the title. Make sure you click on it. Visit the channel. Tap on it. I'll always be there. We should have a show very, very soon, either tomorrow or when Glenn is ready. And I'll be there and we'll discuss more about that. Glenn, thank you so much for coming on. Top for next season.
Yes, 4th position.
Arsenal top 4 next season. If you feel like we will finish in the top 4, smash a like on the video and let me know down in the comments. We remain yours truly, Glenn and Cossy. We'll see you in almost just about an hour. If Lokonga is announced, I'll come back live. So don't be afraid of that. Lokonga announcement, I'll come back live, but make sure you do smash that like button.